trial. Let me tell you the story.
Okay.
So there's a zoo, and inside the zoo,
Are you calling me an animal?
And in that cage, there's 3 gorillas.
Oh, a gorilla, that's even better.
And so the zookeeper goes and he puts bananas in the corner. And when one of the apes goes for the bananas, he hoses down all 3 of the gorillas with cold water. Now they put a new gorilla in the cage. The gorilla's like, awesome, bananas. And he goes for it. And the other 3 jump him and beat him up. And so then they take out the original gorillas and they put in a new one. And you keep doing that until you have 4 gorillas in the cage. None of them will go for the bananas. They'll all beat each other up. And not one of them has any idea why. That's a state process.
All right, I don't know whether I'm supposed to be a gorilla or the zookeeper in that analogy, but there is a reason for things. You just want to take a shortcut. This is not an internet startup where you can service the easy 80%. Medicaid is hard, it's complicated, we serve the most vulnerable people in our state who have the least amount of access. And you know what? We pay you zillions and zillions of dollars to make sure you service everybody.
But you've got to try, you've got to help me to make it better. And if you look at the way you treat your stakeholders, you just knuckle under. You've got to be tough for the sake of the people that you're trying to serve.
I don't know what to think about it when he talks like that. It's almost like you care about my mission?
Of course I care.
Really?
But if I didn't, I'd be writing crappy software for the finance industry. Our goals are different, but they are aligned. So let me talk about why I got into this in the first place. Software is an act of empathy. Software is about getting inside someone else's head. It's about trying to understand how someone else does something, how someone else understands something. And you never get that right on the first try. It takes iteration. It's like the scientific process. You come up with a model, you test it by applying it to the market. And if you take too long to do that, it takes 3 years to rebuild your system. If you only do a release every 3 months, then your software is going to look like it was written in 1986, which is what a lot of our software looks like.
That's true.
If we can go faster, if we can directly interact and pay attention to the people who are at the end, the users, and that's not just the people who are the beneficiaries, that is the people who work in the offices and deal with all of this day to day and get their feedback and make that better, we can do a better job. And we have to change, and I understand that risk is another side of this coin that you deal with all the time, but we can do a better job of dealing with risk. The temptation is to pull all the risk in and put it in one big pool so I can inspect it, make sure there's no failure in there, nothing bad that can happen. But the reality, there's always failure in there. There's always something that can go wrong. And the more you pull that up, if you put that behind a dam, at some point the dam breaks and it floods the whole town. You've got to let it out in small amounts, constant exposure to that risk. That's the way that we can slowly get our software to match the needs of the people that are using it.
When you talk like that, and I hear you talk about the people who I'm serving, and then you even understand what my perspective is, it makes me think like maybe we have the same North Star. And if we have the same North Star, then I guess I have some obligation to make sure my boat is paddling in the direction of the same North Star. If only one side of the boat paddles, it just goes around in circles. We need both sides paddling. So let me talk to you a little bit about why this is my North Star in this work. I came from that side of the aisle to public service, and I felt like it was my job to get up each and every day and to do things that is bigger than me. I fight to deliver systems that enable access to benefits for people who don't have the things that I take advantage for. I've never lived in a place where I needed access to healthcare. I've never lived in a place where I didn't have enough food to feed my family. And so to be a part of delivering these solutions is about working for a mission and working for a set of people who need people like us collectively to brainstorm and problem solve and work together. But what I know is I can't do this work by myself, right? There's a part of me who wants to restore credibility in state government, who would like to actually deliver IT projects successfully that don't require thousands and thousands of legislative hearings for the next 3 budget sessions. But in order to do that, it takes partnership with you. And if you're willing to understand sort of my risk perspective, then I guess we have to have this opportunity to work together and remember that if we keep the North Star in front of us, some days you're gonna paddle harder than I am, some days I'm gonna paddle harder than you are, but collectively we're gonna make progress towards that end.
Hearing you talk with this passion reminds me why I wanted to do this with you in the first place.
And if you actually understand where I'm coming from, then maybe I have to work with you to make it better in the second place.
We're having a breakthrough.
Oh!